जय गुरुदेव यस विश्वधारा जगतम माता सर्वशक्तमयी ब्रह्मानंदा सकारिणी भक्तशाला नमोस्तुते. This verse speaks of Annapurna as the foundation of the cosmos. The term Vishwadhara refers to her role as the one who supports the entire universe, providing it with stability and structure. Sarvasaktamai signifies that she is full of all powers, possessing the strength to sustain and uphold creation. Brahmananda Shirikarini can be interpreted as her being the creator and protector of the cosmic order. The final Bhaktavatsala reflects her compassion and love toward her devotees, providing them solace in their time of need. In a world marked by chaos, conflict, and instability, this verse draws attention to the idea that Annapurna's cosmic presence brings harmony. Her nurturing energy is a reminder that despite external turbulence, there is an eternal force that holds everything together. Today, this resonates with the need to return to spiritual grounding in order to find inner peace and external distractions. Her presence can be seen as a call for self care, inner harmony, and the cultivation of peace within. Annapurna Jagatam Mata Purnamai Dayalana Dehi Ma Purnam Amritam Jivane Pure Darshini. The verse reiterates Annapurna as the mother of the world, or Annapurna Jagatam Mata, whose boundless compassion and fullness Purnamai extend to all beings. The request for Purnam Amritam is an invocation for complete divine sustenance that transcends material boundaries. Her blessing of Jivane Punya Darshini is the recognition that her presence brings auspiciousness to one's life, leading to both inner fulfillment and outer prosperity. This verse is especially relevant in the context of today's consumer driven society, where individuals often seek fulfillment from external sources. Annapurna, as a symbol of inner abundance, reminds us that the true wealth lies in gratitude and spiritual connection rather than the accumulation of material possessions. This verse calls us to recognize abundance in the simple spiritual gifts life offers and cultivate an attitude of gratitude. Vidyapurna, Jnanapurna, Subhapurna, Namostate, Bhakavatsala, Srishtikarta, Mokshadayini. Annapurna is also honored as the goddess of knowledge, Vidyapurna, and wisdom, Jnanapurna. Shubhapurna translates to the goddess being the embodiment of auspiciousness, the very essence of goodness and well being. The verse also acknowledges her as the creator of the universe, Srishtikarta, and the one who grants ultimate freedom, or Mokshadaini. This part of the stotra emphasizes that true spiritual wisdom comes from a higher source. In today's world, where knowledge is often compartmentalized and fragmented, Annapurna's grace encourages us to seek a more integrated, holistic understanding of life. Her blessings invite us to gain not just intellectual knowledge but also inner wisdom that allows us to navigate life with clarity, purpose, and compassion. Annapurna Jagatam Mata Purnamai Dayalani Dehi Ma Purnam Amritam Jivane Punyadarshini. The goddess is presented as the ultimate source of nourishment, both in terms of material abundance and spiritual fulfillment. Annapurna is the mother who nourishes her child with love, affection, and life giving sustenance. The call for Amritam refers to a deeper need for spiritual peace that nourishes the soul just as food nourishes the body. This verse urges the reader to acknowledge that spiritual growth is a vital part of human development. In today's world where material success often dominates our pursuits, Annapurna reminds us to seek nourishment from higher sources, those that sustain the mind and spirit. This can be interpreted as a call to engage in practices that nurture emotional resilience, inner peace, and holistic well being, ensuring that we are nourished in all aspects of life. Annapurna Jagatam Mata Purnamai Dayalani Dehi Ma Purnam Amritam Jivane Punyadarshini. The invocation continues with a plea for divine protection and grace. Annapurna, as the mother of the universe, is seen as a nurturing force granting peace and prosperity to her devotees. The word Purnam Amritam symbolizes the request for the immortal nectar that transcends worldly existence and brings true spiritual fulfillment. Life's trials can often seem insurmountable, but this verse highlights that through faith and devotion, we are never alone. Annapurna's grace becomes a metaphor for the support and inner strength we can draw upon during difficult times. It reminds us to seek comfort and strength through our spiritual practices, knowing that we are guided and protected by a higher force. The Annapurna Stotram remains a timeless prayer that brings together material and spiritual needs of the devotee. Through its verses, it calls for divine blessings in both physical sustenance and spiritual growth, guiding us to a life of abundance, wisdom, and inner peace. In the context of modern life, where material pursuits often overshadow spiritual and emotional needs, Annapurna's grace invites us to strike a balance. By calling upon her, we learn to appreciate the interconnectedness of the body, mind, and spirit, and realize that true fulfillment arises from spiritual connection and holistic nourishment. Thus, the Annapurna Stotram serves as a profound reminder to seek divine blessings, pursue spiritual growth, and embrace the divine feminine wisdom that nourishes us all. Jai Gurudev. जय गुरुदेव अन्नपूर्णम अमृतम देहि जीवनम पुण्य दर्शिनी भक्तवत्साला भक्त संपूज्या moksha. In these verses, Annapurna is depicted not only as a provider of material sustenance but also as a nourisher of the soul. The phrase Amritam Dehi speaks to the nourishing power of the goddess that extends beyond physical food. Amrita, the nectar of immortality, symbolizes the spiritual energy that feeds one's inner being, offering liberation and eternal bliss in the current world marked by material consumption and mental exhaustion. This verse highlights a much needed return to spiritual nourishment. The pursuit of physical sustenance, if not balanced with spiritual growth, can lead to emptiness. Annapurna's divine essence encourages us to seek the nourishment that brings about both the inner peace and external prosperity, fostering a holistic well-being. Annapurna Jagatam Mata Sarvastakamai Brahmananda Shikarini Bhaktavatsala Namostute. Here, Annapurna is acknowledged as the mother of the world, and her divine energy is said to sustain and protect all life. The term Sarvastakamai suggests that she is full of all powers, not only to provide food, but also to uphold cosmic order and grant protection from worldly dangers. Her role is also intertwined with creation and nurturance, making her an important force in both the material and spiritual realms. In a world filled with uncertainty and conflict, this verse speaks to the modern need for protection from both external adversity and internal turmoil. Annapurna symbolizes the material force that shields her children, providing safety and a sense of belonging. This can be seen as a reminder for us to connect to divine protection during times of uncertainty and to seek spiritual grounding in the face of life's challenges. विश्वधारा जगतम माता पूर्णमयी दयालानी देहि में पूर्णम अमृतम जीवाने पूर्णदर्शिनी. The goddess is recognized as the cosmic support Vishwadhara, who provides not only sustenance but also the grace that sustains creation. The phrase Purnamai signifies that she is the embodiment of fullness and completion. She grants both physical wealth and spiritual peace, and by invoking Purnam Amritam, the devotee seeks to be blessed with a life that is both materially abundant and spiritually fulfilling. In a consumer driven world, this verse highlights the need to focus on holistic abundance rather than chasing material wealth alone. The idea of completeness can be interpreted as a reminder that true wealth lies in a life that is spiritually enriched, where purpose and inner peace go hand in hand with external achievements. Vidyapurna, Jnanapurna, Shubhapurna, Namosute, Bhaktavatsala, Srishtikarta, Mokshadaini. Annapurna is not only the goddess of food but also a symbol of divine knowledge. Vidyapurna and Jnanapurna refer to her embodiment of knowledge and wisdom, while Shubhapurna emphasizes her being the source of auspiciousness. She is the one who provides both worldly and spiritual wisdom, leading her devotees on a path toward moral excellence and ultimate freedom or moksha. In an era of information overload, this verse encourages us to seek true freedom and wisdom that is not just intellectual but also heartfelt and transformative. Annapurna teaches that genuine knowledge leads to spiritual liberation, reminding us that mindful living, not just the acquisition of facts, is what leads to inner peace and purposeful existence. Annapurna Jagatam Mata Purnamai Dayalani Dehi Me Purnamamritam Jivane Punedarshini. Annapurna is once again hailed as the mother of the universe, nourishing all beings with love and grace. She provides fulfillment in both the material and spiritual spheres of life. The request for Purnam Amritam reflects the longing for a life that is full of both worldly blessings and divine presence and peace, a life of completeness where the body and soul are in harmony. The word speaks to the interconnectedness of physical and spiritual well being. In contemporary society, where the material world often overshadows spiritual needs, The reminder here is to seek balance and wholeness. We are encouraged to pursue not just material success but also spiritual growth that feeds our deeper needs. Annapurna serves as a reminder that nourishment is not only about what we consume but also about how we nourish our souls through love, compassion, and spiritual practice. Annapurna Jagatam Mata Purnamai Dayalani Dehi Me Purnam Amritam Jivane Punya Darshani. The invocation calls out to Annapurna to provide both material fulfillment and spiritual grace. The verse reiterates the goddess's compassionate nature as a divine mother who ensures that her devotees are blessed with abundance and virtue. Jivane Punya Darshani signifies that her blessings purify the life of the devotee, leading them on the path of righteousness. In a world increasingly focused on individualism and materialism, this verse reminds us that we are not isolated but part of a larger divine plan. By seeking Annapurna's blessings, we invite grace into our lives, recognizing the importance of compassion, purpose, and service to others. Her divine material energy teaches us that fulfillment is not just about taking, but about giving, and in doing so, we find true bliss and prosperity. In these verses, Annapurna is celebrated as a strong, compassionate force, embodying the divine feminine energy that sustains creation. She is the giver of life, both in the material sense through food and nourishment, and in the spiritual sense by fostering wisdom and inner peace. Her role as a mother of the world and the nourisher of all beings transcends mere physical sustenance, urging the devotee to seek a life of balance between the material and spiritual realms. This is a reminder to integrate the wisdom of the divine feminine, which teaches us to nourish ourselves and others with love, compassion, and a focus on long term spiritual growth. The Annapurna Stotram at its core is a prayer that asks for the blessings of a goddess who provides not just material sustenance but also spiritual fulfillment. It invites the devotee to recognize the divine nature of nourishment both in the form of food and the deeper spiritual realms of wisdom, peace, and liberation. In today's world, the Stotra's message encourages us to balance our lives, nourish our souls, and seek true abundance in every aspect of existence, spiritually, mentally, and physically. So, what does Annapurnam Amritam Dehi mean in the Annapurna Stotram? The words Annapurnam Amritam Dehi translates to give me the food that is full of nectar, Amrita. In this, Annapurna is not only the provider of food but also represents the spiritual nourishment needed for the soul's growth. Amrita here symbolizes the divine nectar of immortality that sustains both body and spirit, representing the blessings of divine sustenance. How is Annapurna described as the goddess of nourishment in this hymn? The verse Annapurna Jagatamata describes Annapurna as the mother of the world, nourishing all beings. She is revered as a divine mother who sustains both the material and spiritual worlds. As the provider of sustenance, she is not just concerned with physical food but also with the well being and spiritual nourishment of her devotees. What is the significance of the phrase Sarvastakamai in relation to Annapurna? The term Sarvastakamai means full of all parts, which signifies that Annapurna is not just the giver of food but also the embodiment of divine power that sustains and protects the entire universe. This phrase elevates her from being just a provider of material nourishment to someone who maintains the cosmic order, protecting her devotees from spiritual and material adversities. What is the spiritual meaning behind Dehi Me Annapurnam Amritam in the Annapurna Stotram? Dehi Me Purnam Amritam translates as grant me complete and divine nectar. The word Purnam implies completeness and Amritam refers to the nectar of immortality. This request expresses the desire for spiritual fullness, a life rich in wisdom, peace, and divine grace, which leads to a state of spiritual completeness and moksha. How does the hymn depict Annapurna as the embodiment of both material and spiritual blessings? The words Annapurna Jagata Mata Purnamai Dayalani acknowledges Annapurna as the mother of the universe who is full of mercy, Dayalani, and abundance. She is the one who provides for all beings in both the material sense, food, wealth, and the spiritual sense, wisdom and grace. Her nurturing nature encourages the devotee to seek balance between the physical and the spiritual aspects of life. What is the connection between Annapurna and the knowledge as indicated in the hymn? The verse Vidyapurna Jnanapurna describes Annapurna as the embodiment of knowledge, Vidya, and wisdom or Jnana. This emphasizes that she is not just a goddess of material nourishment, but also the source of divine knowledge, which is essential for the spiritual growth of a devotee. Her grace enables individuals to attain wisdom, leading them toward righteousness and liberation or moksha.